Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build yourself a candy cane lighthouse. In case you are ever looking at the shores of your snowy area and were like, wow, this could be festive. Well, this is the video for you. So without further ado, let's investigate how we'd go about this for the 6th day of Gearsaw. And our palette is simple: red and white concrete, cobbled deep slate, some blackstone, glowstone for once, since sea lanterns can get a little bit pricey and it blends in a bit better. If need be, you can substitute it for shroom lights, although both are about equal difficulty to get. Yellow concrete, and then some spruce leaves. And of course, go to the shores and use the circle generator in the description down below, so that way you can produce yourself a nice circle. Since we're going to be using said circle in order to build the tower, and it's going to be circular, going all the way up in a simple pattern of the red and white, can be seen over there. And then from there, we can start construction of the foundation. Here, I've generated a 13 by 13 circle, and I've decided to de-round the edges in order to make it into an octagon. Although this seems slightly counterintuitive, still, it makes it a lot easier to do the foundation. Not to mention, it gives it a little bit more personality rather than generic shape generation. From here, what you want to do is go to the outside of it, and 2 or 3 blocks up, I'd say 2, you want to encase the entire thing in cobbled deep slate. And this part's pretty simple. And you don't have to add the blackstone yet, since I'd advise you to extend this as high as you want first. Since if we can get the patterns out of the way, then we can get a general idea of how tall the foundation needs to be. So, encase it in your cobbled deep slate, and then we'll add the blackstone shortly thereafter once we have all the white concrete in. I'd advise you to make it around 40 blocks high. Of course, beware of fall damage, although you can make it taller or shorter. Once you have your tower in place, you can see that it looks pretty bland without the designs. So, one thing you might want to do is revert the change of making this an octagon. Although I'd say it might be preferable, especially if you want to add an interior, say add a spiral staircase into it. I'm not going to cover that, but still. You might want to do it octagonal. Otherwise, you might want to do it spherical. So, we'll go back to making it a circle, of course, through fill commands. And then, regardless of what shape you do, even if it's sideways for some reason, go to the top or the bottom. I'm using the top for demonstration. You want to make half of it red concrete, like this. You can see I've counted the blocks, and every 8 blocks it switches colors. And how do you do this design? Well, simple. You go down a block, and you move 1 block from one side to the next, and you repeat this until you reach the bottom. The reason why I divide it into 2 separate strips is so that way we don't end up with massive portions only being one color. Makes it a bit more colorful from all around. Once your texturing is complete, you should have something that looks like this. And notice the spruce planks at the top, that's being added later. If you're wondering about measurements, this is exactly 40 blocks tall, including the foundation, which for the polished blackstone, you'll want to encase all your cobbled deep slate on each segment change. Essentially, curved part to flat part is a segment change, and then you'll surround it like this. Experiment with small changes, whether you want to cover up those blocks there, things like that, and then go to the top and make a ring that is 2 blocks thick around the 41st block, like this. Of course, it can be any block you want. I recommend spruce planks. Mangrove planks works pretty well, but that's mainly suited for if your candy cane is not red and white. If you go for a green or red, then it would work better with mangrove. Anyways, encase this with your planks, add another ring of polished blackstone, maybe even add some walls on top of it, encasing those with some slabs on top or not. And then maybe some basic support beams for now, like this. We'll add stairs to them later. Now we have ourselves a little walkway around here, and I have started building the light. What you want to do is go one block inward from this, place the lighting block, and make another circle inside of that too, to place more yellow concrete, like this. And then you want to hide the glowstone, or whatever block you want, with more black stone. And it should look something like this all around. And if you change it to nighttime, if I can remember my keybinds, you can see it look something like this. Once you add both sides glowstone onto it, then it ends up even better, since it illuminates the area, and potentially you could put some lights on a nearby structure in order to make it look like it's shining onto something. Potentially even some glass in order to illustrate the light coming off of it. Although, I wouldn't really recommend that too much due to the varying success of using large pieces of glass in the sky. But anyways, make these rings around and add the yellow. Once you have yourself the light in here, it should look something like this. And the white concrete, you didn't miss a step. I added this onto it, since we need a top for this. Unless you want to have a rounded light, but that might be a little weird. Instead, put a pretty unique top on it. This is supposed to be Christmas themed. Why not put a Santa hat? So we're going to be doing a Santa hat. Put another ring around this area, as in go up from here, blackstone version, white concrete, go out a block, go back in a block, and then go in another block with red concrete. And you want to make it lean over to one side. Essentially, make your hat look something like this, because we want it to lean to one side in order to make it a bit more festive, unless you're looking for one of those rounded caps with the little ball at the top. Still, we want something more longer and traditional. So make another little circle like this, and then we want to make them progressively smaller and smaller until we reach a point, which should take the form of a 2x2 white concrete block. Using some rounded measurements, we now get something along the lines of this. You can see, leans to one side, goes a little over the edge, and then we have ourselves the white block. And that's pretty easy to do. If you want, you can cut off the corners. It's up to you if you like that. And I think I'll keep it. If you're wondering how it's glowing though, well, simple. There's a hole in the top, which reveals a sea lantern. It can be glowstone, but still, the reason being for this is, of course, without it, it will be quite dark, and you're unlikely to see it from the top, considering, yeah, it's kind of tall. So, don't really have to worry about anyone seeing the lighting. And also, I mistakenly skipped a step somewhere. For this little platform thing, the underside should have stairs on the tops and bottoms of these supports, an extra slab like this, and then some black stone along the top. That way, we have ourselves a little more stable looking foundation here. All you have to do now is add some lighting to the bottom, and then we'll add our landscaping. At the bottom, we now have ourselves some lighting by making these corners more pointed. Essentially, all I did was replace this block with a sea lantern. It can be glowstone, and then cover it up with more black stone. For the landscaping, 2 blocks away from your central point, put a small bush. Then, 1 block away from that, make an angled bush. Should look 2, 3, 2, moving up a block if you're looking straight up. Well, straight down. And then, a taller bush on the corner 1 block away. That way, you have a nice little ring around it. And now, you have yourself a completed lamp/lighthouse. It functions as both, even though it's meant more to be a lighthouse. I mean, this would be a pretty festive lamp. The only difference I could think of is you could add glass to the outside. And this is up to you. This more so comes down to, do you have connected glass mods? I do, mainly because Optifine moment. But if you like this, then go ahead and add it. If you don't, well, skip it. And remember, since glass is transparent, put it straight on the glowstone. No need to make it align with that part right there. since it will be a little bit more form-fitting and make the hat look like it's worn rather than actually part of the structure. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, and if you're watching this the day of its release, well, 2 days from now, another tutorial since this was the 6th day of Gearsaw. And since you made it to the end, here's a hint about the next video. It involves a lot of ice. So, either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw out.